Hello folks, today I'm starting on an odyssey. I'm going to do every single type challenge, or as many as I can do until I run out of patience or I get bored. We're starting with pick, which is the first one. And the idea of pick is that we're going to implement the built-in pick generic without actually using it. So we've got a bunch of test cases down here, and the idea of each of these type challenges is you put your code here. So okay, if I were to just use pick, which is the built-in generic tk here, then we're getting a bit of an error here, first of all, because pick tk, in fact, we'll investigate what's going on there in a second. Here, the first two cases, as we can see, are now passing because we're expecting equal expected one my pick to do title. We're basically expecting those to be totally equal. So expected one, we're expecting just title to pick from to do just the title attribute. So that's what we're looking for. So if we pass in a union here, so title or completed, then we're expecting that to work as well. And we're getting an error here because in this case, we're expecting invalid to, I guess, spring an error, basically. So why don't we look at this one first, because I think that's going to be the easiest to solve. So here, that's failing because it's not expecting an error here. So what we can say is we need to constrain this to make sure that it's only you can only pass in keys that exist inside T. So I'm going to call this TObj, and I'm going to call this TKey instead. And this means I can use extends, which is kind of like a allows you to constrain generics. And this is going to be KEYOF TObj. Okay, so that's good. Our first error has gone away. Now what we need to do is basically, the way I like to think about this is we need to construct a new object and kind of pick the keys that we want from it. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to use a mapping syntax. And in fact, I'm going to turn off GitHub Copilot quickly because I do not want Copilot spoiling the surprise for us. Disable for TypeScript. Thank you. So here then, what we need to do is create a mapping type. The way you can do this is you can say, let's say key, or let's call this specific key in KEYOF. Or in fact, this is going to be in TKey actually. Well, let me make the mistake first. In KEYOF TObj. Now this is going to end up being TObj specific key. Okay, let me break that down because that looks crazy. What we're saying is we're going to get a specific key from KEYOF object, and we're basically going to iterate over it to create a new object. That's what a kind of object mapping type is. And then when we've got that specific key, which in this case will either be title or description or completed, we're going to access TObject. For the value, we're going to access TObject and get that specific key. So if we try and use this, if we try and say yeah equals my pick, let's say, and I'm going to use this little syntax here too to give me a bit of autocomplete here. So this is going to be my pick. It's going to be A is a number, B is a number, and then in here I'm going to say let's just pick A. You see we're getting autocomplete there too, which is nice. But this isn't right because we've just picked A, but we're getting B, which is probably why these are failing too. So it's annoying that these don't give you they don't actually give you any readout there. So what's a clue for why this might be going wrong? Well, we've got our T key here, and that T key is actually unused. So we've declared this T key, but we're not actually using it anywhere. So I think, yeah, this is the issue. What we're saying is specific key in KEYOF TObject. So that means that we're actually iterating over each object and returning everything from that object, or iterating over each key. So that means this is totally wrong. What we need instead is to reference T key here. Because KEYOF TObject, if I go type wow equals KEYOF a number, I'll just copy and paste this. If I grab this, then we're going to get a union type of those keys, right? We're going to get a union type of A or B. If I change this to C, then that's going to turn to C there. So here, what we probably need to do is, because we're passing in a union type here too, we can actually just remove this and go T key. And now Look at that. Everything's all working. And if I actually look at the output, then we're getting a number. If I change this to B, we're getting B number. If I change this to C, C does not satisfy the constraint A or B. Pretty cool. So what have we learned here? We've learned that you can use KEYOF to kind of pull the keys out of an object. We've learned that you can constrain a generic, actually by referencing another generic too, which is pretty nice. We've learned that we can do this kind of like mapping thing here. And notice you can actually do this in like crazy stuff. I think you can do it in string. Yeah, you can't, as type specific key cannot be used to index type T object because specific key is now like any value that's in string. And we've said that T object can only be specific keys. And I think that covers everything. Oh yeah, and we've looked at kind of indexed accessing types here too. So lots goes into this. I hope you, yeah, I wonder if you had a good time doing it yourself. Thanks. I'm going to be doing more of these, I think, and let's go on to the next one soon.